Let me put it very clearly. You have no constitutional rights to endanger the public and spread the disease, even if you disagree. You have no right to not be vaccinated. You have no right not to wear a mask. You have no right to open your business. If you refuse to be vaccinated, the state has the right to literally take you into a doctor's office and plunge a needle into your arm. Hey everybody, welcome to The Real World Prepper. I am RWP, The Real World Prepper. And the words that I spoke at the top of this video, and I want you to stick around, by the way, in this whole video, because I'm going to add I'm going to show you a snippet of a video of this guy and these very words, and I explain who this guy is. So the words that I spoke were spoken just a few days ago from Alan Dershowitz. If you guys don't know who Alan Dershowitz is, I'm sure many of you do. He is a former Harvard law professor. He's a lawyer himself. He's a, declared Democrat. He's an enemy of the Second Amendment. He in fact, he's a strong supporter of gun control. He has criticized the Second Amendment in the past, saying that it has, quote, no place in modern society. This guy has defended scum, rapists, pedophiles, and other dregs of society, such as Jeffrey Epstein, Julian Assange, Harvey Weinstein, to name a few. He was also a big player in the Trump impeachment trial, trying his damnedest to make sure that happened. He's a real piece of work, to put it as mildly as I can. He is just one of the people on this bandwagon. We can name all the others. You guys know Bill Gates is a big part of it. Bill and Melinda Gates, the George Soros crew, the Rockefellers, everybody who is part of the cabal that is here to control things that are going on, that are demonically possessed, whether you believe that or not. When I say that, and I get a lot of people saying I don't believe in your God and all this stuff, I believe that these guys are bad people. Well, look, these are evil people. This is evil stuff going on. This is to fundamentally change the way America is and to do away with America. And along with that, the freedoms that we as Americans used to possess. The rights that were bestowed to us by God and that the government is merely supposed to state and uphold. And we, the people, are to control who those government officials are and pull them the hell out of there when it's time to. Literally, it's time to drag them right down the stairs of the capitals and do justice. Let's just put it that way. Now, so this Alan Dershowitz guy was on a podcast with, and I can't remember the guy's name he was on with, and it has made some rounds over social media, over YouTube, various places in the internet, and I have had several people, thank you to you subscribers who have sent me links and stuff. I've had several people send me links to this same interview, this same thing, only to find that many of them have been scrubbed so far. If by the time I get done recording this video, if it's still up, the one that I could access today still, out of about 5 different ones that I had links to by different content creators that have been gone, have been ghosted and disappeared, this video no longer exists, or, has been removed or whatever. If it's still there, I'm going to show it to you. But here they are, right here, telling you plain as day. We've already heard, we know about the contact tracers. You out of work during this time? Hey, contact tracing, $25 an hour, where you get to spy on your fellow Americans. You get to spy on your fellow Americans and tell, whatever government entity they answer to, who you've been in contact with, where you go, what you shop, where you buy, how long you're at home, how long you're not, how many people are there, all this kind of stuff. So that eventually these thugs with guns and uniforms can come forcibly into your house and remove you or your children or your wife and take you somewhere, or them, to where they can't come, whoever they take, the others can't come see you. Sorry about that. So they make it where the others can't even come see you. They don't even know what's going on. And to then forcibly, this is this guy's words. I'm going to read this again. This one quote of it. If you refuse to be vaccinated, the state, and that is the federal government, has the right to literally take you to a doctor's office and plunge a needle in your arm. Now, this is a quote, a direct quote from this guy. So, again, the contact tracers, the social distancing, all of the stuff that's already embedded in you, the sky seeding with the chemtrails that's going on, the stuff that's in our food, the nanotechnology that's everywhere, all this stuff is already built up inside of you. I do believe there's a correlation with 5G and how that's going to activate this whole system to where the Internet of Things that you hear about, you are also going to be a part of. We are already being made a part of the Internet of Things. The social distancing is not about keeping you safe from some virus. The social distancing is about being able to pinpoint you specifically. If enough of us huddle up together, they can't tell who's who and to know what's what. And that's what they're doing. It is literally, they want to be able to look specifically at you and everything you do and everywhere you go and everything you say, you specifically. So they've got a profile on every single individual so they know who to come after first, who to come for first. And this vaccination that they're coming up with, this one that Dershowitz mentions is going to be, or he wants to be mandatory. And I believe that's coming. I believe it's coming. There's going to be a chip, a mark, a vaccination, some combination of all of that to some degree that they will mandate. He goes on to say, and I don't have this in quotes, but I'll try and show it in this video at the end of this video. He goes on to say, hey, look, yeah, you've got a constitutional right to not do this, but if you don't do it, it just means stay in your house. Don't ever come out. Don't ever be a part of society, or just leave the country, go somewhere else. This is for real. This is for real, ladies and gentlemen. So this whole thing is if you do not see it, I don't know what else to say. I don't know how else to try and show you. How much more clearer could it be? I just don't know. So that being said, we have no constitutional rights. We see them going away, but we have no constitutional rights. And I guarantee you that if and when the day comes that they start coming door to door, and that's already being talked about as well, they start coming door to door and doing these things, guess what else they're going to do? Especially if you spout off and say, oh, I'm not, which many of us, I'm not going to willingly be like, oh, sure, sir, let me come with you. Yeah, here. Oh, did you want me to go in cuffs? Okay, here, just behind my back, no problem. Here you go. No, that's not me. So there's going to be people like myself and like a lot of you guys watching that they're going to deem you as a threat or mentally unsound or something to that effect. They're then going to go in there, take everything you got. They're going to take your firearms. They're going to take any preps that you got. That's going to be considered hoarding. It's going to be, this needs to be spread out for the cause. We got this food shortage. Meanwhile, I'll tell you another thing about food before I show you this video. Little note I made here. 3 weeks ago, I personally purchased ground beef. I bought several rolls, several 10-pound rolls. They were $9 each 3 weeks ago. 1 week ago, a buddy of mine was at one of our local Kroger's, about 12 miles up the road from me. Snapped a picture of it. $19.79 for a 10-pound roll of beef. Yesterday, a friend of mine was at a store, another one, a different store, but same vicinity. And he saw a 5-pound roll of ground beef for $20. So $9 for 20 pounds or for 10 pounds 3 weeks ago, $20 for 10 pounds 2 weeks ago or 1 week ago, and then yesterday $20 for 5 pounds. Now, we have been saying this is coming for a long time. We have been talking about this over and over and over. This food shortage, this meat shortage. They are forcing your hand with this stuff. They're going to make this stuff so unaffordable that you're going to have secondary types of protein to get. Or if you want your meat, you're going to have to spend out the wazoo to get it. And what's going to happen is people are going to go without, are not going to be able to afford it. And this is going to also make people quicker to jump on the bandwagon. Well, let's get this thing done so we can get society back to normal. But you know, they're not vaccinated. They don't want to vaccinate people who are sick. That does no good. Those people that are sick are already going to build antibodies, are already going to recover. You know, we already see, what state was it? I think it was Texas. I could be wrong. I think it was Texas. 127,000 cases. Then they report 3,300 recovered and 111 died. Well, wait a minute. If you had 127,000 cases and 111 died, then you had, 115,000, whatever it is, 116,000 that recovered, not 3,300. So they're skewing the numbers of this thing. They're doing this on purpose to get you all riled up and in a tizzy, all right, to get you scared, so that you'll be willing to take this vaccine thing, so that we can get everything back to normal, so the meat's here again. Meanwhile, they're putting cows and pigs by the truckload, by the dump truckload, in landfills, perfectly harvestable meat. And yet we're paying exorbitant prices, and what we are getting largely is coming from overseas. So what in the world is going on here? You guys got to get it together. It's too late. We literally have to drag these folks out and drag them down the steps, out into the public square, and let justice take place and take back a hold of this thing. If we don't, your children, my children, our grandchildren, they're going to live in a, it's George Orwell, 1984. It's Nazi Germany. It's and I hate to make these comparisons because really it's going to be worse than that. It's going to be more than that. It's going to be so unbelievable that if we let this happen, our children and our grandchildren are going to look at us and say, "You failed. What did you do? What did you leave me? Where did you leave me?" Let me show you this video.
It took to mean they would arrest me, throw me in a concrete box, and allow me to speak to a judge about the Constitution on Monday, since this was a Friday. Is Governor Andrew Cuomo allowed to shut down the Constitution because of allegations of a virus that certain medical professionals argue against?
Let's be very clear how we break down this issue. The city of New York, the state of New York, has the power to close a park based on their view that it would be helpful in defeating the pandemic. Absolutely no question about that. The Supreme Court has case after case after case saying that public health justifies closing down parks, closing down public areas. Let me put it very clearly. You have no constitutional right to endanger the public and spread a disease, even if you disagree. You have no right not to be vaccinated. You have no right not to wear a mask. You have no right to open up your business.
Wait, can I stop you? No right not to be vaccinated? Meaning if they decide you have to be vaccinated, we have to be vaccinated?
Absolutely. And if you refuse to be vaccinated, the state has the power to literally take you to a doctor's office and plunge a needle into your arm. If the vaccination
Where is that in the Constitution?
If the vaccination is designed to prevent the spreading disease. If the vaccination is only to prevent a disease that you will get, for example, if there's a disease that will kill you, you have the right to refuse that, but you have no right to refuse to be vaccinated against a contagious disease. Public health, the police power of the Constitution, gives the state the power to compel that, and there are cases in the United States Supreme Court. Case that pops into my head, I may have the name wrong, is Jacobson. I think probably I have it right. Check it out. You'll see that there are cases after cases after cases that the public health permits reasonable actions to prevent the spread of communicable diseases. Most of them grow out of tuberculosis cases in the early 20th century, but some are more recent than that. But there's still an issue of whether the governor has the authority to create laws, and that's a matter of state legislation. Yeah.
But you've opened up a whole new area here. So
Right.
the governor has the right, or sorry, the government
State.
has the right to force someone to be vaccinated. But how do we know what they're providing us from a medical standpoint is accurate? There are doctors who argue that Anthony Fauci is totally wrong in his assessment, and it certainly seems like week to week, month to month, they don't seem to know anything about this virus.
I agree with that. I mean, I think there's a lot. I wrote an article early on pointing out two fundamental errors right away. But that's what a democracy is about. And if the majority of the people agree and support that for public health measures, you have to be vaccinated, you have to be vaccinated. They should give you an alternative. The alternative is to live in your home, don't get vaccinated, but never, ever leave your home or live in a bubble. But if you want to interact with other people, you cannot become Typhoid Mary. The Constitution doesn't give you the right to spread your illness to other people. And you can disagree, you can be a dissenter, you can leave the country, you can go into a bubble. But what you can't do is say, I don't disagree, I don't agree with Fauci, therefore I'm going to take the law into my own hands and decide to spread the disease. That's not a constitutional right. Sorry.
But Professor Durst,
So is any of this reasonable? Did you find any of what he said reasonable? Yeah, you can move out of the country. You can self-isolate. You can do all of those things. You just can't participate in our society. Are you pissed off yet? I am. And I'm the Real World Prepper. I will see you on the next time. Stay vigilant, my friends.